In this video, we will take a look at one of the most common problems with Super Nintendo consoles, and that is issues stemming from either a broken or damaged power port. This particular unit does not have a broken power port, but it is damaged. The issue at hand is if the plug is bumped, the system loses connection and will reset.
Now you're playing with power, superpower.
Let's take a look at the actual replacement part that we'll be working on today. These can be bought on Amazon or eBay for about $8 to $12. If you're into collecting and cleaning old consoles, it's worth having a few of these in the toolbox as spares. I'd imagine if you were to buy these in bulk, you could probably get them cheaper. As seen, this part does include a surround bezel for both the video and power. This is not a terribly difficult job to do, but you will need some basic soldering skills, and the Super Nintendo will have to be completely disassembled. As you can see here, when we plug the power connector into this part, there is no play and it is secure. This will eliminate power loss when the connector is bumped. Two things I'd like to mention here. First off, there are several different models of Super Nintendos, but the steps for doing this project are essentially the same. Secondly, if you're looking for a more detailed video on disassembly, cleaning, and reassembly, please check out my channel, as a few weeks ago I did upload that video. That said, to keep to the point, I will speed up both the disassembly and reassembly process, but we will in detail work together to replace the plug. I do just want to quickly call out this component here, as it is on legs, so as we're flipping the board over, we need to use caution as to not damage it. With the main board completely removed from the case, we can take a closer look and see what this project entails. Here you can see the two legs that are soldered to the bottom side of the board, completing the electrical circuit. Here I'll make my disclaimer. My soldering skills are novice at best, but I have done a few dozen of these and have never had an issue. That said, if you're working on your own Super Nintendo, you're doing so at your own risk. Here we're using solder braid to heat up and wick the solder away from the main board as well as the connections. You'll want to remove as much solder as possible, and then ensure that these legs are free from the board by grabbing a hold of the assembly and wiggling back and forth. Whatever you do not want to force the legs out, as you risk tearing the pad off with them. So there is a bit of a feel to doing this. Once you do one, you'll be able to do it much easier the second time. It's a combination of lifting up on the assembly while also pulling the legs out of the main board. Here I'm adding some flux to the pads, and I'll use the braid to clean up any remaining solder that was left behind. This helps ensure that when we go to solder in the new connector, everything goes smoothly and there's a good connection. I used 99% IPA in a Q-tip to clean up the area the rest of the way. Inspecting the new power port assembly, we take note of the angle of the legs. This is helpful because we will have to slide them into the holes in the main board while pushing the rest of the bezel down into place. Again, there's a feel to doing this that you will get after you do your first one, so moving forward, this process will be much easier. Just take your time and work the legs into the motherboard, and then if you need to, you can take a small flathead screwdriver and help assist the legs in. Very important step is assuring that everything is in place, the screw holes are all lined up, and the bezel is sitting flush on the back of the console. If not, once it's soldered in place, you'll have a much bigger project trying to remove to straighten everything out. After careful inspection, I believe everything looks good here and we can move forward with the soldering. Once again, we add flux to the work area, and then we will use the iron to heat both the pad and the leg and then apply the solder. By following these steps, you should prevent any cold joints from forming. Once we allow this to cool for a minute, we'll go back and clean everything up again with 99% IPA. Again, I'm no professional, but this does look good to me, so we're going to go ahead and start with reassembly. Once again, I'm going to speed up this portion of the video, and then when we're done, we'll go ahead and test the console. Alright, here's the moment of truth. And the system does power up, so why not do one race of Mario Kart? A good final test here will be to wiggle the power plug while the console is on. And as seen, there's no problem whatsoever, so I'm going to call this Super Nintendo repaired. As we wrap up this video, I just want to thank you again for taking the time to watch all the way to the end. And as always, I look forward to interacting with you in the comment section below.